Hello everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV, and it's the uncensored match build-up show ahead of Liverpool versus Accrington Stanley, Saturday, 12:15 kick-off. No one's allowed to say who are they. Okay.
Honestly, I had to do everything in my power to stop myself every time.
No one's allowed to say it. It's a challenge. Everyone knows who they are, I think, anyway. Welcome to the show. I'm Steve Hoare, joined by Dan Club and Jay Pearson for this one, both of whom have tickets for the game tomorrow in the FA Cup. But they're here today to preview said game that they're both going to. Jay, thanks first. I'll start with you, mate. When the FA Cup draw was made, if you can say, given the obviously, especially with Liverpool being in the Carabao Cup semi-finals, League Two side at home, I think everyone would bite your hand off, and this is now what we've got, and this is, it isn't the most, exhilarating tie. I'm guessing like Man United, Arsenal, or Arsenal, Man United is probably higher on the agenda in terms of the excitement level and stuff, but this is exactly what Liverpool wanted, really. They've just got now going to put in a professional performance against the sides who are full of players who are going to be playing the biggest game in their lives.
Yeah, you've ticked every box there, mate. It gives you the option to rotate, doesn't it? And I think this is what you want early January, is that opportunity to rotate, because like you said, if we did get a Premier League side, you'd be putting up probably an 11 that's a lot stronger. I mean, I'm always happy with a home side because it's better for the Auto Cup scheme for me. So I'm made up that it was a home side. But I just think that this gives us a really good opportunity, considering the moment that we're in at the minute. It's a good opportunity to rest players and give some players some minutes.
It's nice, and obviously you and the guys went down to Accrington yesterday. It's a massive moment for them. I think the links between Liverpool and Accrington Stanley are more than just a milk advert. There's been constantly like players who often leave Liverpool as young players who go to Accrington. Yep. It's down the road. It's one of the best things Accrington do actually is take local scouts talent. They're not scouts team. They're closer to Manchester really, and then develop them. They do that with as well, and you spent some time down there yesterday, and the mood down there, is it excited as it come across?
Yeah, properly. Yeah, they're buzzing for it. Like, you can just tell. It was great to speak to a couple of lads, obviously a couple of massive Reds in that squad as well, and we seen immediately when the draw was made what it meant to one of them in his living room, just absolutely over the moon. Young Josh Woods. I spoke to Josh yesterday, mate. Yeah, and he's equally as excited as he was a few weeks ago when the draw happened. So yeah, it's a dream tie, obviously for Accrington, but in many ways for Liverpool, as you guys have just referenced there, in terms of what it means for our season. But no, it is a very Liverpool-centric football club. They've got Liverpool management in place. They've had Liverpool managers in years gone by as well. John Coleman's there for a long time, a long tenure. So yeah, it's come at a good time for us. But again, for what it means for Accrington, what it means for them as a town, as a football club, obviously a big payday with it being on telly, trip to Anfield, they've sold out the away end. It's huge. It really is huge. And this is what the FA Cup's all about as well. We've got the links in terms of the players, in terms of the squad, in terms of the history. The quirky milk link as well exists. So yeah, it's nice, and it's what this should be about, in my opinion. And credit to Accrington yesterday, they were great down there. They really were. They held the day and handled us brilliantly, and they were lovely people. And yeah, really good to interview a couple of lads who, like I say, are absolutely buzzing for this.
Yeah, I think it was young Liam Coyle as well, wasn't it?
He was in the academy.
Released at Liverpool. That tends to happen with Accrington. From a team point of view, it is worth mentioning, just to touch upon them as well. 17th, they finished last year in League Two. They currently sit in 19th. They tend to be down the bottom. I know they've had a couple of good wins recently, Jay, but like I say, this is the biggest moment of their lives, really. And how much John Doolan, it's interesting, really, because I know you spoke to him, Dan, I'll come to you in a minute, but like, is this just a bonus, or have they got any plan, desire, whatever, to win? Because is there something tactically they can do? Are they hoping to upset the apple cart? I'm sure, we've all seen the FA Cup giant killings before, but it'll be interesting to see the attitude of the Accrington players. Are they there to win, or are they overawed a little bit? Are they there just to have probably one of the best days of their lives? It'll be interesting to see the mood that they walk into it in, because the biggest thing for them still, mate, is staying in League Two. That is the ultimate thing. Like, being a professional football club is bigger than this. Yeah,
there's how we always say there's a difference of playing the game and playing the occasion. I think tomorrow they'll play both. But I think the first, Slot referenced it, didn't he? The first 25 minutes are going to be really difficult. I know I always like looking back on stuff, but if you think about having at Waterlooville back in the day, that was a big thing for them to come up to us as well. And, they sort of controlled the game for a lot, and they went up, they were winning 1-0 and they were winning 2-1, so it wouldn't surprise me if we get a little bit of that tomorrow, because they'll be right up for it, and I think after, if we can manage the Storm for the first half an hour, we'll have it in our favour, but we could do a professional job and just turn them over in the first 20 minutes. You just don't know. But the fact that this is, they have started the season, they've started the year well with 2 wins, but they hadn't won since the 9th of November. So they've they were on a bad run of form, really. So you've got to.
Yeah, and there's a lot of players, they're desperate to be in the 11.
Yeah, definitely. They're playing themselves into it, yeah.
It's no coincidence that
No,
turnaround.
absolutely not. No, absolutely not. So it's they'll play the occasion for sure, definitely. And at the end of the day, we'll just play the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting because it's not the first time Liverpool played lower league opposition. At Anfield, obviously, you look back to League One Shrewsbury a few years ago, actually took the lead at Anfield before the Reds come on and beat them. I think that was a very COVID affected Liverpool.
But happens more often than not. Barnsley did the same thing to us at one point. We got knocked out by Barnsley.
We've been knocked out in the past in the North.
You can be caught cold, and that's the only thing. If you're Accrington, you're thinking 999 times out of 1,000 we get battered, but it's like the Doctor Strange. Is there just one? Just one? And Liverpool just needs to be doing that. I'm just thinking from their point of view, are they daring to dream? Are the lads going to bed tonight just dreaming of scoring that winning goal in front of the Kop? There must be, and that is the FA Cup. That's footy, and it's great.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Like I say, and I tell you now, some of those lads won't be sleeping tonight ahead of this one. But if they do get a bit of kip, it will be exactly that thought process. That'll be the last thing they think about. The last thing they see in their mind's eye before they do fall asleep will be that. Especially, like I say, Sean Wally, he played for Shrewsbury, not that game, the other game when they come in, it was just our kids. He played in that when we won 1-0. He's a massive Reds, boiled Liverpool fan, sits on the Kop. Josh likewise, and Liam, as we mentioned, from the academy. So those three in particular will be thinking, what if? What if we can do something massive tomorrow? And listen, for all of the squad, not just the Liverpool fans, it's their Champions League final, isn't it? This is what it's all about. Like, this is Anfield. This is absolutely huge for them. The assistant manager's a big Red as well. So yeah, it's some occasion, but from our perspective, just about guarding against complacency, isn't it? And trying to avoid that 1 in 1,000, 1 in a million opportunity that they will be sensing. But I tell you what, from the manager in particular yesterday, listen, he said all the right things in terms of Liverpool's strength, in terms of where Liverpool are at, in terms of the season, all that stuff. And as you rightly say, survival is utmost in terms of their priorities right now, in terms of League Two. It absolutely is. But he'd be lying if he said he wasn't just ever so slightly thinking, you never know. Because they got that sense from him. Because he knows Liverpool are going to rotate. He knows Liverpool won't be at full strength and sort of full pelt in terms of the team selection. So he definitely was just thinking, if we just go there, execute a game plan, potentially, who knows what might happen. And that's what it's all about again.
I suppose as well, it's worth saying, Jay, like, from I'm glad it's Accrington a little bit as well. I always like teams with scouts players, and I think the same for Tranmere. It's always nice that they can get a bit of a payday as well. There's the money generated from this is huge for them, and if it goes towards them staying around and that kind of stuff as well, like I say, there are young people from this area, young lads who have got jobs because of Accrington, so it's great for them. But I think it's important that you say from a Liverpool point of view, and we'll talk teams and selections later. As much as John Doolan said the right things of blah blah, it is on Liverpool to make this a non-contest. That's the aim of the game. Like, give them a good day out, fantastic, but make sure you be professional, get the job done.
Yeah, we will be. And Dan referenced before about people sort of not sleeping the night before. I think there'll be some of our young players who potentially going to be playing tomorrow. They'll want to. If they're starting a game at Anfield, they'll want to make a good impression as well. So there'll be nerves on our side as well, which is why when the draw's made, you can't just assume that Liverpool are going to batter Accrington Stanley within the first half an hour.
That's when they do get caught out, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you do think like that, especially because we're not going to have our first choice 11 playing tomorrow. So you've got to think about complacency. But again, mate, we've still got some very talented players that'll play tomorrow. So just get the job done as quickly as possible. So if you are having big guns starting, you get them off quickly. Or the other flip side of the coin, you don't have to bring them on to force yourself to get through to the next round. Yeah, I think if you ask that question as well, though, I think there's a lot of people might say, well, I don't care about the FA Cup this season. I want to win every game. I want to win every trophy. Going to Wembley's a great day out, but I want to make sure that we've won this game before we have to bring on the big guns. I
think you're right, mate, and it's worth mentioning. I think what the FA Cup can do is provide, and we'll speak about it in the second half, like, there are lads who need minutes, and they haven't got them, so there's therefore opportunity there for them. By the way, me and Dan, we touched on it a few times there. If you want all that extra content, obviously Dan, Paul, Chloe, Dan at Accrington, redmenplus.com, it's available there. Check out all our socials as well. I know Paul's got something coming out on his own socials and YouTube channel as well. Happy birthday to Paul as well. I'm sure he's watching. But yeah, so yeah, if you want even more content from what everything happened around the media at Accrington, go to redmenplus.com and check it out. And while you're on YouTube, go and check out Jay's channel as well, Jay. So Jay's got to put your first video yesterday on your channel. Let the people know what you're doing.
God bless you. Thanks, mate. Put me on the spot there. I didn't really want to do that. Yeah, no, I mean, I've people who know me, I'm quite passionate about my kits. And I think it's the only Liverpool sort of space that hasn't been tapped yet, whereas, you know, you sort of like lock onto kits. So that's all it's about is Liverpool's kits from the history and all that sort of stuff. And the first video is me and Patrick Berger. We talk about his 5 favourite Liverpool shirts, where it's really good as well because there's one part where it absolutely rinses me for a certain name set I have on the back of the shirt. So it's worth checking out just for that, to be honest. But, you know, I'm 40 this year, and I'm not doing it for. I really like my football kits, and I just think there isn't anything out there that's for Liverpool kits. So if you like your football kits, you like a bit of nostalgia, then check it out, because there's a couple of series that is going to be on there, like where I get quite a lot of DMs asking people who are buying retro kits, is this real? Is it legit? And you know, I'm pretty good at telling it from a photograph, so I'm going to do a series on that where I try and help people with, you know, what's fake and what's not, and I'll compare the two, because I have the real ones and I've got some dodgy ones as well, which we'll compare. But yeah, it's just little projects. You know, I've got a lot of stuff going on, but it's a big passion for me. So I just thought, been toying with it for the last 18 months, so I will just do it. So if you go on YouTube and search Tops of the Cop, you'll see it.
Adam, can you throw a little link in the description, please, mate, as well for us? So if you're watching this on YouTube, the link, go and subscribe, go and like Jay's channel, go and watch the first video with Patrick Berger. I've watched it, it's great. I'll be honest, the kid's fingers at me, but even I, if I can last 20 minutes enjoying it, then I thought it was really good, mate.
I appreciate it, mate, and that was the idea, is just keep it 15-20 minutes, just bite size, not like an hour long thing where, I mean, I'd lose interest in that, to be honest, but it's nice and easy, and the way Patrick is in the video, he has good banter with me and stuff like that, so it works quite well. But you know, just wait till you see what I've got coming up in the next few months.
There you go, with a little tease before you go and check out Jay's channel. What's it called one more time?
Tops of the Cop.
Tops of the Cop. There
Thanks,
you go.
mate. That's really kind of you, honestly.
You're very...
I hate plugging myself, but that's really nice.
I'll do it for you, mate. Listen, I'm shameless. I'll plug it. So do not worry about it. Absolutely fine. Right then, we are going to be speaking after the break about Liverpool team news, injury updates, illness updates, all that kind of good stuff. We're going to go into the break with this trivia question, though. The last League Two team that Liverpool faced in the FA Cup was in 2017. Who was it? We'll be back with the answer off the guys. If you're watching YouTube, let us know live as well your answers now. See you after this break.
Hello over there, just wanted to tell you what you could win if you were in our Club Legend prize draw for January. This is a biggie. We're starting the new year off with a bang. It's this, a signed Liverpool shirt signed by Ian Callaghan, proper Liverpool royalty, the record appearance maker for the Reds. 857 appearances he made. Not all in this shirt, you'll be glad to know, but if you want to get yourself a chance of winning this, head to redmenplus.com, sign up as a Club Legend, or upgrade your existing subscription, and you might just be the lucky winner.
Welcome back. Yet the last time then Liverpool played a League Two team in the FA Cup was 2017. Who was it? Just know?
We don't, apparently. We fought Exeter both.
Yeah, we were going with Exeter.
And then we fought Lincoln, but then that was the Carabao. So
Exeter was 2016. It was the year after Liverpool.
What was the score?
It was 0-0, then 1-0.
Right, so 0-0 at their place.
No, Anfield, 1-0 at their place. If I tell you who scored the winning goal,
go on.
Lucas Leiva.
Plymouth.
It
did cost me Plymouth.
Was in my brain.
You know why I didn't go with Plymouth? Because they're in the Championship now.
Yeah, they were League
Genuinely, and I thought that's some rise for them.
That is some rise.
They were League Two. Congratulations to Tom Rooney. Nice. He got it right before you. Yeah.
Sorry, what's his name?
Tom Rooney.
The irony of him getting that right. Plymouth.
Yeah.
Well done, Tom.
Yeah, might be Wayne's cousin or something.
Well done, mate.
So there you go. Way to go to you guys. Yeah, last time Liverpool played League Two opposition in the FA Cup, it was Plymouth Argyle. And there you go. There's your perfect reminder. They drew 0-0. The last thing Jurgen Klopp ever wanted, and his head fell off when he realised there was replays. What the fuck's this?
I didn't know after this, are they? So it could go to pens still.
Yeah, it's crazy. The whole situation, his head was gone. They drew with Exeter in the first year, and then Jurgen got FA Cupped a couple of times. Right then, let's move on to Liverpool. Then Jay, I'll start with you. In terms of team news, Arne Slot spoke today.
Yeah.
I think it's worth mentioning the actual updates he gave on terms of fitness. He said Gerard Kwanzaa should be fine.
Yeah.
He was ill, but he expects him to be available. And he mentioned Dominic Szoboszlai trained with the 21s. Obviously, Liverpool had a bit of an issue getting back from London with the snow. Everyone had Thursday off. Szoboszlai did come in training with the 21s. So there's a chance he could feature if Arne Slot fancies giving him some minutes. So that's what we need to know. So Kellis is in goal. We know that. How do we build the Liverpool team from the back then? Is it... So we think Kwanzaa's all right. So that's amazing. So he goes in.
Yeah.
Is it Endo, Bradley, and maybe a younger left back, maybe one of Robertson and Tsimikas. What are your thoughts on how he's going to set his defence up?
Yeah, I think the only question for me in defence is who's going to play left back. Like you've just said, I think it sort of picks itself in a way because you've still got to give Bradley those minutes. I think this was a prime opportunity for him anyway, regardless of him being dipping out the side the last 2 weeks anyway. With the centre-back situation, there's a lot deeper we can go on that, but please let's not go into that. But I think that's right, the combination. So it is a question of who you put at left back. Owen Beck, but it would normally be the name that would get thrown in there, but obviously that's not going to happen. So I just don't know.
Dan, and our resident, Dan watches all the academies, all the 21s.
I do.
Is there? Because I'm thinking there isn't. Listen, he could just go. Robertson and Tsimikas have been rested and rotating between them. He could go one of those, but that could also be a position where they've actually both played a little bit of footy, and maybe that is one of the opportunities to put a young player in. Yeah. If so, is there anyone you'd be thinking of?
James Norris would be the answer to that particular question. I would be inclined to go Kostas Tsimikas personally, but if he wasn't, I think James Norris would be the answer, and James Norris would be a really strong answer in so much as he's not wet behind the ears 17, 18-year-old. I think he's about 20, 21. And he spent the entirety of last season on loan at Tranmere. So we'll have faced Accrington probably twice anyway. So he's probably a really good solution if you don't want to do one of the other senior lads in terms of left back. I would be Bradley at right back, definitely. I think Quanta is a nailed-on starter. I do have a little dilemma when it comes to the other centre-back. Endo is obviously
I think he's the clubhouse favourite to start.
I probably agree, but I think Amar Ronaldo's in the conversation personally. In case you want to do Endo in midfield, that would be my only suggestion there. But yeah, ultimately... I really like Marinello. He's captained the under-19s quite a lot in the UEFA Youth League. Really
he's
quality.
He's a big lad, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's been in and around the first team as well in terms of training squads and stuff like that. Really nice on the ball, both-footed, and big enough to cope with the physical demands too. So I think Nallo is definitely a contender. However, I probably agree it's probably Endo.
The only reason I'm thinking Endo is because I think Liverpool may have more options in terms of midfield, Jay, so we'll go there. We're not sure about Tyler Morton, actually. He rolled his ankle a couple of weeks ago in training, so if Tyler Morton's fit, he'll play, but we're not quite sure if he's available on a slot, and no one asked him about it, which was a shame, so we don't know where we're at with Tyler.
Did he mention McConnell? I didn't even mention McConnell. No.
He was involved at Southampton, so I think I think he plays.
Yeah,
I was about to say, I think he's the one who starts at the 6, and then you've got Elliott, Szoboszlai, Trey and Yoni all become potential options here.
I thought
Elliott could play Elliott can go in the front 3 as well, it's worth mentioning, but it feels like maybe he gives Elliott and Szoboszlai a little bit time. I don't know, because I think he'll want to play in Yoni. I think he'll definitely want Elliott minutes, but also how keen is he to get anything into Szoboszlai? It's a bit of a predicament here with this one. Is he happy just to wait for Dom for Tuesday, or does he want to get him a run out because he hasn't played for a long time now with this illness?
Yeah, I'd like to see McConnell, Elliott and Szoboszlai, and then you bring Szoboszlai off at the earliest opportunity. Okay. That would be my preference, because I really want to see Trey and Ione play as well. I wouldn't necessarily start with that 3 because I'd like a bit of stability given of what we spoke about with that first half an hour, especially the first half and how it could go, because Accrington will be wired up for it. So that would be my choice.
What do you think?
Yeah, I probably agree. I think if Morton has got a slight problem, it is automatically dead easy to just do McConnell instead, plug and play in terms of what they offer. I think Trey Naoni, I really want to see Trey Naoni play this game. I watch a lot of him ultimately, so I've seen him play footy enough, but I really, really like him. Very technically gifted, lovely player to watch, and feels out of the crop of real youngsters the closest to being sort of in Arne Slot's plans. I think it's fair to... No, but obviously that is reflective in the fact he travels a lot and he's on a lot of benches and stuff like that, but he just, again, he's so young as well. Like, he's younger than a lot of the other lads we could talk about, but in terms of first team readiness, just looks the part, you know what I mean? So yeah, and he's captained youth teams as well recently, so has that sort of responsibility on his shoulders too. Elliott 60-30 with Szoboszlai potentially one way round. I think Elliott might get the 60 and you might just sort of drip feed Szoboszlai back in for the last half an hour, something like that. And there are some other youngsters who come into the reckoning as well in terms of midfield, but none really that are banging down the door. I think we are in the round being spot on with that personally.
I think Elliott just has to play. I actually think he needs 90 minutes as well. He's playing 150 minutes of total footy.
Do you think Szoboszlai needs minutes though? Because I kind of do.
Yeah, but then it could be double, couldn't it? You could be Ignoni plays an hour and then you bring Dom on for I don't know, it depends on what the manager thinks. I wouldn't be shocked if he plays both Szoboszlai and Elliott, because as much as he would like Trey and Yoni to get minutes, and I agree with you, the bigger benefit for Liverpool right now is to get Elliott minutes in his legs, get him playing, keep him happy as well. I'm sure he's not best thrilled with what his season so far. You know, rumours around his future sneaking out already. And then Szoboszlai just needs to play. I think he needs to see how he is. I don't think the manager will be keen to just drop him straight back in on Tuesday, having not done anything. So
we missed him as well.
Oh.
Bloody hell. We definitely missed him, both of us.
Jinx, you can't talk both of show. It's my show for the next half hour. Okay, so we do, it's a tough one. I agree. I think it's Morton or McConnell, depending on how tired it is. I think Tyler's ahead in that race.
I agree with that.
I think Elliott defo starts, and then the manager's got a decision to make with Szoboszlai what he wants from him. If not him, we think Trey.
Yeah, definitely.
I think so.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think we all want to as well. He had a good pre-season, didn't he? And he had a really good season last year for the team, didn't he? So yeah, we'd love to see him.
I spoke to Trey and Yoni in Philadelphia. He's a child.
Yes, he is.
And I mean this in the nicest possible way. Like, people, like, sometimes we just forget, like, because he's a footballer and he's clearly talented, he is a kid. Like, it was like he is just talking to like a kid. Like, it was I felt like a granddad speaking to him. You know what I mean? Very polite, nice young man, but he was very nervous, and he was just he's
really intelligent footballer though.
You can tell he's got something about him.
Yeah,
lovely kid, lovely kid. Bless him. Let's talk up front then, because this is the interesting one, Jay.
I know.
Because surely, if Federico Chiesa doesn't start tomorrow, like, that's he doesn't play for Liverpool anymore.
No, absolutely.
Like, surely he has to. And if he doesn't start, he comes on. He has to play this one.
You can't. There isn't a world where he doesn't start in that front three. It's unbelievable, because again, Slot didn't really give much away in the presser. He basically just said, you know, when he's available, we'll see how much he can help us over the next couple of months. That doesn't scream he's starting tomorrow.
I suppose though, mate, I think, and he made a really good point, and he kind of focused it around Elliott, but then he also said it includes some others.
Because that was the question that was put to him. Well, you mentioned those two names.
Players have been injured, and then they come back, and because the games are so hard in the Premier League, we can't give them the minutes to get them up to speed, so then they're not up to speed, so then I can't, and it's like a vicious circle. This is why for Chiesa, this has to be the time he gets minutes. Even if he's shite, and I don't think he would be, by the way, he's a fucking Euros winner playing against Accrington, I think he'd be fine. He has to get these ones, because there is no other opportunity at the moment in time, given how big the stakes are, for him to start games and get a good hour. If he's going to be doing anything in the future, it's going to be off the bench. He needs a good run out, and it's the exact same as Harvey Elliott. They've both missed a lot of time with injury. The manager just hasn't been able to get them back in. Here's your opportunity. It has to be him.
Yeah. I mean, what do you in your opinion, what do you think's been up? Because, you know, he's out of the squad, and then he finally makes that comeback, and then he's out again. Then he plays against Southampton. Had a pretty decent showing against Southampton for me. It wasn't too bad.
I think.
Yeah, but then we've not seen him since, and there's not been no report of like a massive injury. There was an illness apparently, you know. But
match fitness is what it boils down to, isn't it? And as Steve said there, the opportunities to get him on the pitch have been few and far between, really, because so often there's so much riding on these games of football for us that you can't take a chance on an unfit, unprepared, not up to speed Federico Chiesa. As good as a footballer he is, and as what his history in his football and TV is decorating, it is quite impressive. But if you're not sharp, you're not sharp. And he arrived not sharp. He's picked up problems along the way. One of the early reports from on the slot was he trained today, then he had a setback. He trained today, then had a setback. That's not a glowing recommendation of where one of your footballers are at. They then sort of reset and went to a mini pre-season. He's done that now. You'd imagine he's completed that, so he should be in the round sharpness. And then just when you think you are getting somewhere with him, I think it was post that Southampton game, he's ill for a couple of days and he doesn't travel to a different game, and you're like, oh, here we go again. And the overriding point on all of this from Arne Slot was kind of referencing the fact that the games are so big and they are so sort of important week in, week out, and day in, day out as it is really. But the players as well, the competition for places is so fierce. Like Mo Salah in particular wants to play every single game of football. He'll want to play tomorrow probably if he had his way, you know what I mean? But he won't. You know, Darwin Núñez less so, Diogo Jota less so, but the others have been brilliant. So where does Chiesa get his chances? Where does he get his opportunities? And if Chiesa suddenly leapfrogs a Darwin Núñez or Diogo Jota, who's now back fit, like what are they thinking? You know what I mean? So it's really tough to get him minutes, which is why, to round off the point, like he just has to play tomorrow. If he doesn't play tomorrow, I agree with you. I don't know where you turn. I've already sort of teetered on the edge of being, I don't know what to say or what to think about Chiesa anymore. If he doesn't start tomorrow, that's done in terms of my mind.
He has to start. The interesting one is what he does next to the other two places. So there's a world where someone like a Darwin Núñez, who hasn't played tons, he's been coming off the bench recently. Diogo Jota, although played midweek, hasn't played a ton of footy. I'd like to think he'd probably want to keep Salah, Gakpo and Diaz away from this one, Jay. Again, I know Diaz and Gakpo have been splitting time up a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe one of them on the bench just as a break glass. Oh shit, like it's gone to pot. I was imagining Jayden Danns is definitely in this discussion as well. Harvey Elliott might be in this discussion where he doesn't play. You know, we could play Szoboszlai and Yoni and McConnell and put Harvey in the front three. That wouldn't be a massive surprise. You know, Chiesa can play on the left, Elliott can play on the right. So there are options here, but I'm thinking, is this a good one for Darwin or is this a bad one for Darwin? Because if he plays and scores, no one really cares. If he plays and has a stinking, like, oh my god, he can't even do it against Accrington. It's a bit of a catch-22 for the lad who, you know, is clearly not at his best so far.
Yeah, but I'll be honest, I don't care. I'm giving Jayden Danns the opportunity.
Yeah,
I really am. I'm putting him up front, and I'm maybe sticking Jota on the left. That'd be nice.
Okay.
Just to get them in and get the minutes. I know you sort of might be playing Jota.
Dan's played left, by the way, against Southampton.
There we go, and you can switch them around as well. But I'm definitely giving opportunity to Jayden Danns.
Dan?
I'm Jayden Danns up top and Darwin Núñez from the left.
Okay.
Personally.
I think Chiesa. Talking about it, I think we might see Chiesa from the left,
right?
Elliott on the right, and Jayden Danns up front, and that allows him again. That gets Szoboszlai
and then who's in midfield?
Yeah.
Szoboszlai and Yoni McConnell.
Right, got you.
Potentially, but they're all options there.
They're all great options. All three little scenarios we just put together, I'd be happy with.
I'd love to see Jayden Danns play.
Yeah, look at that team sheet.
I think Jayden Danns should play. He's only been back for about a month, think about it and saying, but yeah, he feels like one who should definitely be involved. But I think Darwin Núñez needs to play. For a lot of the similar reasons just said about Chiesa. Chiesa is obviously fitness and injury led. Darwin Núñez is form and confidence led.
Yeah.
If we are going to get a tune out of Darwin Núñez,
these are the games.
These are the games.
Yeah,
I don't know. Listen, you're right
that.
in what you say. If he scores, if he gets a hat trick and we win 4-0, ultimately no one will really care.
Yeah.
But for him, that's a massive thing because inwardly Arne Slot and his teammates could make a big deal out of that. And I know it's not a child, don't need to mollycoddle him, but it will be a thing. Like, you know what I mean? And we need to get goals into him. We need to get a little bit of morale boost into him. And this is a golden opportunity to do it. And one, in my opinion, we shouldn't be passing up.
I wouldn't be surprised if Núñez played, though. I think he'd probably play up front. And I think he'd just make Jayden Danns do the donkey work on the left because, again, what's the point of playing Darwin left if he's never going to play there for us? You might as well put him where he's going to play. Like, with all due respect to Jayden Danns, he come on at Southampton on that left-hand side in the League Cup because it was a case of we need someone to go and run around in the left wing.
And he did it for you, of course.
And he's game as
he's
I know Jane's been injured, hasn't he? And he's only just coming back down, but he's been all right since he come back.
Yeah, he's absolutely fine. He scored a couple of goals on the way. He scored in that Premier League International Cup a couple of weeks ago at a game I was at. And yeah, he's looked sharp. He looked straight back to it. It's a shame, really, because he was injured to start the season. He missed pretty much the entirety of pre-season back problems. Yeah, and then I saw him at a game and spoke to him briefly. And it was I want to say it was sort of early October time. And he was like, oh no, I'm nearly back, a couple of weeks and I'll be out there again. And literally about a week later, it was reported he had a setback as to what was going on. And he was out for another month or so. But as I say, since he's come back, he's looked at it. He's looked all the things he looked when we got quite excited about him 12 months ago.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed he can stay fit. And listen, there's a world whereby he's sort of playing for a potential loan away. And it's a bit of an audition for him. I'm not saying it's going to be League 2 level because I don't believe it would be, but if he does play and he does start and he does play well and get a goal, there'll be a lot of Championship level clubs sniffing around Jayden Danns this month.
He nearly went to Plymouth, didn't he, before he done his back. So yeah, maybe. And again, I wouldn't be shocked, and it depends on, again, presuming, and I understand, like Liverpool get through and assuming, Jay, and depending on what the next FA Cup draw is, it might be, if you get another League 2 team at home, it's another opportunity for these lads. And if it's not, and hopefully you don't get knocked out, but if you get like a bigger game, maybe that's when the decision to send lads on loan. But for now, I think Arne Slot's going to be keeping most of these lads around for January, and it's a good opportunity. Like I say, you might need Jayden Danns somewhere down the line, Actually, we play Nottingham Forest on Tuesday. Jayden Danns come on against Nottingham Forest last year because Liverpool were just desperate for a goal.
Yeah.
Darwin got it right at the end. But like,
the irony.
At some point, you might need these lads. Listen, we got to a League Cup final and we needed all of them.
Yeah, exactly.
An injury situation, so you never know where you're at. I think it'd be nice for Jayden because he clearly burst on the scene. He had a really good end towards last season, but then the injury. This was his his summer to impress the new manager, get himself involved, and then the back injury just really hampered him. We all remember what he did against Southampton. I thought he was excellent in the League Cup final when he come on. He really covered his shoes. I think it would be lovely for Jayden now to get the rewards. I always think when players have been injured, it's a little pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And he got a little bit out of Southampton, but it'd be nice to give him an Anfield start. Yeah,
exactly. And the crowd will be behind him as well because we've already seen a little bit of him and we know what he's about. And we know, because he has correct me if I'm wrong, he has scored at Anfield, hasn't he? Yeah,
Southampton got 20 in Kumas that night.
Yeah, so we're not putting an unknown in there up top. You know, for me, I'm relaxed about it if he plays. You know, sometimes you can be a bit, oh, who's this kid? You know, but I'm relaxed about it because I think he's a really good player.
And I might be stereotyping here, Dan, in terms of Accrington. I can't profess to have seen too much of them. But like if you go up against the young lads, you probably think, get into him, boot him about a little bit, get stuck in. I think Jayden Danns loves that. He's actually really good. He's a big lad for a start, but he puts himself about. You know, he isn't one who's going to shy away from a physical confrontation. He's bang up for that.
He could be an Aki player. That's the irony.
No, he can handle himself. I'm absolutely with you on that. And that again is why there was sort of interest from Championship clubs, because if Championship clubs didn't think he could handle himself physically, you just wouldn't look at him. If he was a kid who wasn't up to that challenge, you wouldn't even contemplate it as a potential signing. And also it's important to sort of mention with Jayden as well, like he's been playing above his years pretty much since he sort of broke into the 18s. Like he absolutely tore up the 18s last year, was leading goal scorer for Liverpool by some distance, and then was in the 21s doing very similar. And he's still, I think he's 19 now potentially, like, and he's an under 21s footballer. So yeah, he's more than ready in pretty much every sense to have a little more taste of first team football, I'd say.
Absolutely, yeah, I think you're right. So I think what we didn't really decide on too much there, but there was no consensus. But I think the general one is that there's probably going to be more fringe players than young players. Yeah. I think in the past this would have been a team chocker full of young lads. There are so many players who Liverpool need to get minutes into, because Arne Slot, one thing he hasn't done much is rotate. Like he's used a core of, like, I'd say 14 to 15 lads regularly, and then there's been others who just haven't really featured in minutes, and they need the game time now.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you on that. Yeah, and I think, as you said there, if we did sort of have more lads who'd gone to the well more recently, it might be a different makeup. I think there would have been more youngsters involved. But it'd be interesting to see the bench in terms of that, and how many of our big hitters, first team stars, get the day completely off, and how many are on the bench, break glass solutions as reserves. But yeah, I think in terms of the youngsters we may well see in the round the matchday squad, I think Isaac Mabai is a contender, young right back. Actually had a really good pre-season a couple of years ago. Injuries have kind of curtailed his development. He could be an interesting one. Kieran Morrison, I really like, really sort of impressive technician, got a bit of X factor about him. Carter Pinnington, young centre half, be interesting to see if he's anywhere near it. And of course, the one everyone to talk about is Rio Ngamoa. Obviously, I think he went to the Southampton game. I think he's on the bench for that. Young left winger. If we are a bit short on left wing options because Diaz and Gakpo aren't anywhere near this, Ngamoa's participation would be a fascinating one. And it would be, again, the one everyone wants to see. I'd describe him as properly exciting. He's got that low centre of gravity, wonderful skill on the ball, like just lovely to watch and just want to beat people all the time. I said a minute ago, Jayden Danns is really sort of ready for first team football in some capacity. I believe he is. Ngamoa is a few years away from that yet, but he's so raw and he's so talented. Everyone just wants to sort of jump the gun with him and just look at him.
It's got a bit of early Ben Doak about it, where you can see he's clearly got something. He's very raw, but why not? I suppose, and like you say, I wouldn't be sure. I think he will probably be on the bench. You would guess, and the reason he didn't get out of Southampton was because that ends up being a bit more of a trickier game than Liverpool wanted to be. If this isn't one, then it's a bit like, I remember when Ben Doak got 3-1 against Derby that time, and Klopp was like, go and have a little run, and he terrified them for 15, 20 minutes.
He could do that. He's got that in his feet. He could.
Does he come on after, if, like, say we're winning by a couple of goals, does he come on?
Ideal scenario, yeah, you're 3-4 up or something like that late on, and he gets 10 minutes at the end. Because again, it's another little, we obviously poached him, for want of a better expression, from Chelsea during the summer, and a lot of the conversations you'd imagine they had with him and his representative would have been like, there's a pathway here to first team football for you. You know, you've seen lads do it. You mentioned Ben Doak there. There's more tales of that when Liverpool have recruited from academies around the country. Part of the reason we're really good at that is because there is a route to first team action, and if you can give someone like Ngamoa a debut at Anfield with the scoreline favourable, then yeah, that stands you in really, really good stead.
So lads who won't even be on the bench, let's talk about that. Sure, Alisson probably gets the weekend off.
Yes,
because
Yaros
is
there.
Van Dijk weekend off. Salah weekend off.
I think
Salah weekend off, sure.
Yeah, I want him to have the weekend off, but
I think there's a handful of players.
Yeah,
I think Gravenberch and McAllister aren't even on the bench either.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't know about McAllister.
I think Jones
is on the bench for me.
I just don't. I think McAllister's one. He just doesn't even. He used him against Southampton off the bench, didn't he? I think he didn't.
But he was post suspension. I think Southampton probably needed the minutes in his legs at that point. He probably doesn't now. I think Gravenberch, Salah, Van Dijk, and Alisson are the four that I would definitely not have in this squad. I think the rest you can have conversation. And one of Diaz and Gakpo I'd like to see not involved as well, personally.
Canate? Bench.
Interesting one.
Probably bench.
Just in case.
Just in case, but you don't want to use them if you don't have to. But
Yeah, I'm with you.
I think that's right. And then again, a couple of young lads on there as well. It'd be nice to see those. And
So what you see, obviously you mentioned before about Diaz and break glass. I think he's on the bench then.
I think one of Diaz or Gakpo will be. I
Yeah.
don't know which one, but I think he'll want something.
Yeah.
And Jota on the bench.
Yeah, oh God, yeah. If he's not starting.
And see, no, I think that's too many first team players now.
Yeah.
I think there'd be more kids than that. I don't know. Well, okay, let's put it this way: one of Jota, Diaz, or Gakpo on the bench.
I think that's a good way of doing that.
One of them.
And Darwin Núñez is definitely involved.
Darwin will be
Yeah,
I would think so. Yeah. In terms of what else happened, there's loads. Usually we go through other fixtures at this point of the show, but like there's it's the FA Cup third round. There's loads. There was already 3 games yesterday with Everton, Cardiff, and Fulham getting through. Other highlights: you got West Ham Aston Villa v West Ham is tonight. Looking ahead into Saturday, there's actually a lot of Premier League teams at home to lower league opposition. So Chelsea, Morecambe, Brentford, Plymouth, Bournemouth, West Brom. You've got further down there as well, Norwich, Brighton. It depends how Brighton leads. Harrogate, if anyone cares what that. Man City v Salford City. Again, big team against Manchester City. You've got Tottenham going to Tamworth. Newcastle get Bromley. There's loads of what you call
crazy.
proper FA Cup ties here. Arsenal, Man United as well Sunday if anyone wants to watch that one. So yeah, there's a bit of everything there, Dan. Like there's a lot of lower league teams getting, Tamworth hosting Tottenham, Bromley going to Newcastle, Salford going to Manchester City, Accrington going to Liverpool. It feels like the FA Cup gods have shined on these lower league teams because this is kind of what they wanted. There's no replays anymore. The rights and wrongs that can be debated, but a lot of these teams are getting a massive day out, a massive payday, and a chance at performing a miracle.
Yeah, they are seismic upsets as well, aren't they? Some of them. They're not just like, is it an upset? They are upsets if any of them come off, like, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it'd be fascinating to watch. I don't envisage any of them, personally. Certainly not when it comes to the Premier League teams being at home. It feels like that is a big swing. Like, what I would say is that Tamworth Spurs game, we know what Spurs, listen, we experienced firsthand that Spurs on their day can get their act together and can be a force to be reckoned with. However, I think I'm right in saying Tamworth play on like a plastic artificial pitch, which can be a bit of a leveler as well at times. So that is one I will keep an eye on in terms of potential upsets. But yeah, there's not many in the way of banana skins there. Listen, as you say, it would be magic. It would be the FA Cup in a nutshell if any of them did happen. I just struggle to see it personally.
Stockport going to Palace again. There's loads.
Maybe that's
I think there's one. There's usually one every third round, isn't there? There's usually one giant killer.
If we're all going to have a giant killer, I think Stockport Palace might be your go-to. With Palace have got one eye on the Premier League because they're not pulling up trees by any stretch of imagination. Stockport, I think they're sort of punching above their weight, top of League One, and they've got some decent players there. So that could be the one to keep.
Yeah, I never really class like Premier League team against Championship teams like giant killer. They're upset, but they're not the giant killer. I wonder if Harrogate can beat Leeds. I know that's not Championship, but like that's what
it is Yorkshire.
Yeah. How arsed are Leeds about that? But yeah, that's an interesting one. There's some good ones actually to keep an eye on as well. And then some like some are just like a bit random ones as well. But yeah, Bromley Newcastle will be fantastic. I hope that fantastic.
Oh, imagine that'd be amazing.
Newcastle got beat by Cambridge a couple of years ago in the FA Cup, I want to say, like, at the third round stage. But don't see it. Newcastle are on it, aren't they?
Yeah,
I need a cup. I know they got the Carabao, the 1 foot in the Carabao Cup final, but they won't sort of forget or push aside any cup run because they want whatever they can get. So yeah, I don't see that.
Absolutely, I think you're right, guys. Just let everyone know where we are at home before I come to your score predictions. We have got a watch along again for the game. We'll be live around about 11. 11ish, roughly on Saturday morning, which is mad, by the way. That's breakfast time. I shouldn't be on the internet at that time on a Saturday morning, but I'm going to be. It's actually about 24 hours from now, roughly. We've got me, Errol, and Jamie in the studio for that one, so do come and check that one out. Dan and Jay are going the game. What are you expecting, lads?
To be cold.
Yeah.
I'm going to be freezing.
Yeah. Undoubtedly cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cold.
I don't want to be too, 5-0 or anything like that. I'm going to go with a 2-0. I'll go with a 2-0.
I think we scored more than that. With all due respect, Jack.
No, absolutely, yeah. But I'm just weathering that storm.
No, not just because of where we're at and where they're at in terms of the literal league tables and the standings, but because we've got no option, but because we will go stronger than many might expect because of the lads that need minutes, I think we'll just have too much quality for them in the end. And I'll say 4-0. I'm really looking forward to it, though. Like I say, I watch a lot of the academy games anyway. This is just an academy game inside Anfield. Some first team has dropped in, so this is wonderful.
But that's
for me.
that's the good point, because we were chatting in the group with the lads who I go to the match with, and we were saying, like, you know, a couple of them aren't going because they don't want to, and I think, well, that's fine, but this is going to be a really good occasion because the atmosphere is going to be really good, because it's a tie that
it's unique.
We get here, and it's a tie that it has been wanting to happen for a long time.
I went to the Havant game. It was actually quite nice. I think that Liverpool in years gone by, they could have struggled a little because of the players who were like played too much and whatever. There are players here who are desperate to do something, who have got a point to prove. Arnold Slotcher hasn't picked some of them. So the likes of Elliott, the likes of maybe a Nunes or whatever, maybe a Chiesa, I've got something to prove. I think 5.
You think 5?
Right, okay.
I would like Accrington to score. Can I say that? I would like them. One of the lads in particular, I wouldn't begrudge them that moment. The club.
If Liam or Josh could get a goal in front of the
That's
what
I mean. I want us to win like 4.
And it's a consolation or whatever. Yeah.
I wouldn't begrudge them that.
Or even what Shrewsbury got. They scored the first one and then we come back and randomly beat them.
That's what I mean. That would be good. That would be cool. If Wood scored the first
bad
one.
For us, but amazing for them. As a moment for them, would be fantastic.
Winning Anfield for God knows how for a few minutes.
I wouldn't despise that for them. They're good lads. Having spoken, they're good lads, and but I think we will have too much.
My Hill's gone for 3-0, so I was Sai in the chat. Rafa's gone for 3-1. MDS has gone for 2-0, a bit like you as well. I will let you have one milk reference then. Red Sai said I'll be drinking hot milk to stay warm. There you go. You can have one milk reference. You can have it. You too can. Thanks to Jay. Go and check out Jay's channel. Like I say, it's in the description. Tops of the Cop. Go and check all that good stuff out. Go to redmenplus.com as well. Check out Dan speaking to all of the key men from Accrington ahead of this big game from a very snowy Accrington as well. So if it was an away game, it wouldn't be getting played. No. The fact that it's at Anfield means it definitely will be. So go and check out all that good stuff, and we'll catch you on the watch along Saturday afternoon. See you there.